Hello, everyone. We welcome you to the most awaited episode of season 3, How You Got Placed, abbreviated as HYPE. And I am Shashwat Agrawal, and we'll let you soon why this is the most awaited episode of this season. So let's get started. If you guys are actively participating in coding competitions organized by various coding platforms, you might have heard this name before. Today, we have with us the top Indian coder on HackerEarth, top 10 on HackerRank, 7-star coder on Codechef, master on Codeforces, even the winner of HackWithInfy, and fifth at TCS Codevita among 1 lakh participants. He is even 3 times ICPC regionalist. Presenting before you all the one and only, none other than Mr. Arjan Singh Bal, sir, who is successfully placed at Google India. Sir, और भी कुछ बचा है या हो गया? Forgive me if I've missed something. Please let
Thanks,
me know.
Shashwat. No, thanks, Shashwat. That was an amazing introduction, and even I'm inspired by myself after hearing that.
That's great. Okay, sir, we shall start now. Sir, give us a quick introduction of yourself as who are you as a person?
So that is a really difficult question to answer perfectly. I would be considered enlightened if I would have the perfect answer for that. But I'll give a short description who I feel I am. So I'm currently in the 5th year of my integrated master's program at IIIT Gwalior, and I really like solving problems and especially doing things that are challenging. So like I played a lot of video games during childhood, and the a thing which is challenging is really like exciting to me. So I'm not the best at maths or maybe other topics which are required in competitive programming, but I like the challenge of doing something with limited knowledge. Like no matter how much knowledge you have, you will try to find a solution to the question. So that is what I really like to do. So
That's indeed a great introduction of yourself, sir. Okay, so let's start with why this interview has been scheduled. With this, what I mean is, when did you start coding? Or should I frame this question as in, ki, about your 5 year journey in the college, year by year description of what you did?
yes, so it's like basically I can finish it in one line like I did competitive programming. But if I had to like say a little bit more about what all I did in college, so you don't need to actually do too much. Whatever you do, if you are strong in that field, then you are good. So I started in my first year. I did a lot of competitive programming in first year, second year, because you don't have a lot of things to do during that time. You have a lot of free time. So and you are not caring about placements at that point of time. So during my third year, then I started realizing that I'll maybe have to build a balanced resume. So I did a little bit of web development, but that was not too much. It was just like to put projects on your resume. So because if you don't have a balanced resume, then like at the first glance, it might look as if you are missing a lot of things if you don't have a
Indeed.
project section. So I did a bit of web development for that, and during a BTech project, I did a little bit of machine learning. So and then it was time for my internship. So during my internship, I learned a lot, basically how real world programming happens. So then after that, I got interested into development a little bit more. So I made a portfolio site for myself. I built 2, 3 small projects. I contributed to an open source project on competitive programming, that's cpalgorithms.com. So it's a site which is related to basically algorithm. It's like a place where you go and you get all the codes and this introduction about the algorithms you use in competitive programming. So I contributed to that, and then right now again I'm doing my internship. So all the things I learned the previous internships is helping me in this also. So that is what I did throughout my 5 years. I'll be graduating this June.
Sir, indeed a huge. Okay, so moving on to our next question. So right now you are rated as the master on the Codeforces with a rank of 50 in the country. So what's your feeling? First, tell us about what you feel about having this ownership.
It's actually I started competitive programming because I feel like really happy when I'm able to solve a question which a lot of people are struggling. Like if only few people have solved in our country, and I solved that question. So that is the kind of excitement I like while doing competitive programming. So there are a lot of masters on Codeforces. So like the best feeling I got, even better than when I heard the result of Google, was when I became a 7-star on Codechef. So it had been an aim since like 3 years that I want to become 7-star, but I got really close to it, I think 2 years ago, and then I fell down because I started a long contest and I didn't have the time for it. So I went on to do the important things and all. I started falling down. So this time when I was close to 7-star, I really worked hard. Like the entire week, the long contest was going on. I was like 24/7. I was thinking about a problem, or I was actually implementing the code. So
Right.
when I became 7-star, it was a really good moment. Like the feeling cannot be expressed unless you like have something which
Yes.
you're aiming for 3 years and you achieve it. Like only then you will know what it feels like to achieve something like that. So
Yes, sir.
that was an amazing feeling.
Indeed, agreed, sir. Sir, tell us about your competitive programming journey or the roadmap, I should say, right from your first introduction to this competitive world to the present.
Okay, so like a lot of people ask me this question. So I used to initially tell them like a total roadmap that follow A, B, C, D, and then like you'll become very good in competitive programming. But the problem is that not everyone has the same journey. And when you are starting, you don't need to know the entire roadmap. It can get intimidating. Like if you see that I have to do so many things, only then I will start winning or something like that. So it is better you focus on the first step. And at every step, you only focus should be on the next step. You should not think about like 10 steps or 20 steps ahead, because that might make you demotivated and make you feel like you're not doing as much as other people are doing around you or something like that. So I started programming in I think ninth standard, when in our school we had a course on logo or something. It wasn't anything much. It was just whatever is in the curriculum. So in 11th 12th also I took computer science, so I knew basic for loops, if conditions, and basic programming structures which are there in all programming languages. So I still had no clue about competitive programming. Only in college, during I think the first week of college when I joined, I met someone from another college. He was from UPTU, and he was doing an internship in our college under some faculty. So I just asked him like, "What do you have any tips for me as I'm just starting out in college? So how should I use my time?" So he told me that he had spent some time doing competitive programming and that it's very useful. So if you don't know anything except competitive programming, also companies can take you. So, but he told me that he used to just participate in contests and try to solve questions. And he thought that initially it was only guessing and like smart people must be solving problems. They are smart, so they can solve the problems. So he said that he realized that it's completely algorithms and data structures, and there's a theory which you can read and it will give you an idea how to solve problems. So there is like a logic to all this. So he told me that read Introduction to Algorithm, which is like a this thick book. So uh, even I think during our course also faculties will tell us to read that, tell you to read that. So the problem is that it is like it's a very dense book. So it has lots of proofs. So like actual thickness is this, but it's actually way thicker if you actually write it as a normal
Okay.
book. So it will be way thicker than that. So he told me read one page per day. It will be good enough. Like 5 years, you will complete the book and you will become an expert pro in competitive programming. So I did that. I started reading, but I realized that solving the exercise questions was like my brain was hurting because of that. So it was not possible. So later on, with experience, I realized that that book is not meant to be read alone. So either you are taking a course in college which already introduces you to the topics and you look at it as a reference book. So then, but still, like I at least got the momentum. Like what is competitive programming, I came to know. So then after that, there was another person in our hostel only. He was a postgraduate MTech student, and his name was Deepak Baghel. So shout out to him. So that person, he was in MTech, so he didn't have like first year. He was just adjusting to college. Second year, it's already time for placements for him. So what he did was in 6 months he told me that he completed like a lot of DS algo and he was confident that he's better than many IPG students also in coding, and he got placed in a good company. So I met him while playing badminton only. So I went to his room and all. He told me how to start and like these are the judges. And I saw that he had printed out a lot of questions and he had made his own book of questions from different sites. So that gave me motivation that I thought that it's a very long journey and all. So he gave me motivation that in 6 months also you can achieve a lot. So if you are like if you have some kind of target, so if you don't have a target and you are just like thinking, relaxing, and doing one question a day or something like that, then you will that as much the amount of time you need to do something is the amount of time you have at hand. So if I tell you to do something in 6 months, you will do it in 6 months. If I tell you 5 years, you will do it in 5 years. So that way, Deepak sir, he gave me a lot of motivation to do competitive programming. And once I started, it was just like you need initial momentum. Once you start, the next years was just because of the momentum. I was just going forward. Like I read another topic, I solved some more harder questions. I kept doing this, and initially you don't even get in the leaderboard. You can't see your name in the first few pages. Then slowly you keep climbing. Like you keep climbing, and that feeling is that you are improving. Sometimes you are tattooed at some time, but you know that you are learning, but it's not reflecting in your ranks. So then suddenly you after you cross a threshold, you'll start solving more problems, and then you will like suddenly your ranks will start increasing. So it's like a journey. The first step I would say is that anyone who's doing programming, just pick an online judge. It can be like Codeforces, HackerEarth, Hackerank. Actually, nothing matters. Just pick a good one, which many people use, and just start solving the easiest problems. Whether it be like just for loops, if conditions, just the very basics of a language, and like start with arrays. So arrays is the basic data structure which every language has. So just start with this much, and after this, you should be able to find out like on the website only you'll find out how to select new problems to solve, and all that you'll find out on your own. If you're not able to find out, then you can definitely reach out to me or anyone else. But then I will guide you. But if I give you a roadmap right now, like the complete roadmap, then it will be too overwhelming to solve questions like follow the entire roadmap for 5 years or something. Just take the first step, and after that, you will usually find your own way after that.
So that's indeed a great advice. Okay, sir, moving to the next question. So, what would you advise one should do when they get stuck, like when one cannot understand a specific concept or when get indulge in some rating for quite a longer duration?
Yes. So, like this is basically, I think there are two questions in this. First is what should you do when you are stuck, and next is like what should you do when
Okay.
you can't understand something.
Yes, sir.
So if you can't understand a particular topic, what I would say is that like these topics which are there in competitive programming, they are usually very fundamental algorithms. They are not the ones on which research is being done. Like these are very old algorithms, and people like it's very easy to understand all of them. In fact, school students also solve these questions, which we are solving in college. So
Okay.
what you are missing, why you are not able to understand, is basically you have missed some part of the theory, because of which you are not able to connect all the dots. So for this, I would recommend that you see a number of sources explaining the same concept. So some of them I can name, like cpalgorithms.com is there. Then there are a lot of YouTube channels. Just search the name of the algorithm on YouTube. There are a lot of people who explain these algorithms, and then even
Okay.
HackerEarth has some good tutorials. So once you look at the problem from different perspectives, the approach from different perspectives, you will usually be able to like it will click in your mind. You'll make the connections, and then as soon as you have basic understanding that you're able to code it once, then you solve questions, and every time you solve a question, you will understand something more about the algorithm. Why do we actually like do something in a particular way? So and then while debugging your code, you get an extra understanding. When something doesn't work, then you get an even extra understanding of how the thing works. Then the second part was that what if you plateau?
Yes,
So
sir.
I have a approach to this, that is like if I'm not if I'm plateauing at some rating, then what I do is I try to understand like why am I not able to solve more questions during contest. So it could be because I'm missing some particular theory. So if I'm missing the same theory again and again, that means I don't have enough practice in that theory. So I will try to learn it. So, but a lot of the times it's not one particular thing, that is, it's like just the difficulty of the question which you're not able to crack. So for that, what I do is like I double down on my training. So every time I lose, I try to double down. Like I'll not spend double time, but I will practice harder questions. So the basic idea is that if you practice like in a rating system, like rating higher is more difficult. If you practice 2400 questions, like 2400 rating questions on Codeforces, then you will not be able to solve 2400 consistently on in contest. You will be able to solve something like 2000. So you practice harder questions in practice so that in contest you are able to solve like a little less than that, but consistently. So if rating 2000 comes, I have confidence that I do 2400 in practice, so I can do 2000 in the contest. So you practice harder questions, and like you need to double down on your effort, and then that way only like your rating will keep going up. If you practice the same thing, you will start getting slower and slower. So and but that is not too difficult actually. When you get to a certain level, you enjoy more. So when you are doing more practice, it doesn't feel like you are doing like too much more work. You are just spending some extra time. So that is how you get out of a plateau situation.
So, okay. So the next question is coming to the most prestigious and auspicious coding competition, that is ACM ICPC. So, if you can tell our viewers what exactly the ACM ICPC is and share your experience of competing in it, should a beginner or an intermediate participate in it, like somewhat in detail about this?
Okay, so ACM ICPC is ACM is an international organization which conducts this contest for college students. So many people call it the Olympics of computer programming, but actually it's not Olympics because only college students can participate. So the best people in the world usually are not there in that. And the format of it is like you first have an online round in India, followed by regionals in many parts of India. I think there are around 4 or 5 regionals in India. So you go for a regional, and usually top few, like top 3 teams or top 2 teams, they qualify for the world finals. So and it's a team contest. So you have 3 people, and in all the rounds, like in the online round, you can 3 people can work individually, like they have their individual machines. But in the regional round, you have 3 people but only one computer. So you need to spend time, and you have 5 hours. It's a 5 hour contest. So speed matters, but it does not matter too much, because if the participants are like the team members are like equally rated, or they are have equal skills, then every it comes down to like 12 questions in 5 hours. So per head it will be like 4 questions in 5 hours. So which is not too difficult if you're able to solve difficult questions. So it is usually about solving harder questions in ASM ICPC than going fast. A lot of online competitions which you do every day, they are about speed also. The speed plays a very big role in that. But in ICPC, it is mostly about like difficult questions. Once you solve the initial questions become really difficult. So you need to solve the difficult questions. So if you have 9 questions, usually you have a chance of qualifying for world finals. So, and then who should participate in this contest? So I say that everyone should participate in this contest because there is no harm. So, and a lot of companies like know about ICPC. So they, if you write it on your resume that you have done ICPC regionals, so, and you have a good rank, then they will understand what exactly do you mean by ICPC, what is the level of ICPC. And for qualifying for the regionals, you need to be first in your college for that particular regional. So if you have applied to some regional, if you are first in your college, in our college the competition is decent, so the first team always qualifies. So the second team can qualify if they perform really well. So if they perform, ICPC, basically the target is to impact a large audience. So they will take people from different colleges. So they try to take first rank from every college, even if like the second rank is like second rank from IT Kanpur might be rank 10 in the regional online round. But before that, another college team which is like 300 rank but it's first in their college, they will get a chance. So because of that, in our college, every year teams will go for ICPC. And if you are a second in some regional but you are really good, you might still get a chance. So if like you are in top 100 but you came second, someone from your college was even better than you, so you might still get a chance. So it's worth trying for, because every year someone goes. And if you qualify for world finals, then like people will remember you forever. Because in our college, the people who are there, like only one team has ever gone for world finals. So, and still like people know about their name, who they are. Shiv Gupta was the person. So even from 5, 10 years after that, he went in 2010, I guess. So people still know that there was one team which went. So if you can go from our college, it will be like a really big achievement. And yes, you should. Everyone should try. And if you go to world finals, then it's really great for you. And I've heard, it's a rumor that once you go to world finals, you can name a company and they'll give you an offer. So I'm not sure about that, but you can try that out also once you go to world finals. So that's a really good aim to have.
Okay, that's pretty much of it, sir. Okay, sir, as you mentioned, like we are to participate in a team of three. So, what's your recommendation about the peer group? Like coding should be done in groups or in individually, and which way profited you during the programming practice?
Okay, so the best thing is that if you have a culture in the college of uh, of competitive programming, then it is really like you don't need to put much effort in it. You will just like everyone is doing something, so it's the positive side of peer pressure. So everyone is doing something, so you feel motivated to do something yourself. So I would say that if you find a peer group which is encouraging and which everyone is doing something, you should do that. And the opposite is that you should try to find a peer group which is doing, like everyone is active and doing something in college. You have a lot of free time. So if used properly, our college is a really good college and it gives you a lot of free time to do whatever you want. So peer group is better. But if there is no peer group, then still the good thing about programming is that there's a big online community. So you can always take part in you can always take part in online competitions. You can ask your doubts to anyone in the world who is there on these platforms, and you can build a community which is not in your college also. So you don't need to depend on your college if you cannot find so many people to be enthusiastic about programming. So that is a good thing for ICPC specifically. What people try is that the team members should have complementary strengths. So if someone is really good in mathematics, then you would take that person over someone who has similar strengths as yours, because you want to solve that one extra question. In the hard question, you want to solve one extra question, and if you require someone who has specific knowledge also for that question, it will benefit you. So that is good if everyone is like really good in your team. But if like not everyone, like if everyone is master or grandmaster level in your team, then that is you decide based on people who have complementary strengths. But if like people are not that level, they are candidate masters and all, you try to go for people who are individually really good programmers. So you don't try to build complementary teams, you just try to build teams which individuals are good, because your aim should then be to like have a strong team in general, a safe team which can solve many questions. And then for ICPC specifically, practice in teams, because communication is a very big thing. Because when there's only one computer, you need to talk to each other that who should have the computer at what time, and who do you like have more expectations, like he will finish the question even in 5 minutes, or will he take time for debugging after like coding this question. Debugging also takes time, so you should have idea about the strengths of each member and how much time they will take and who to consult when you have a doubt. So if you are stuck in some problem and you think that only if this particular issue could be solved, I would have a complete solution. So you should know who in your team do you expect that this person might have the solution or this person might have the solution. So chemistry is important for ICPC, and you need to give team context for that.
That's great, sir. Okay, sir, moving on to the interview part. You have cleared the interviews of Google, CodeNation, and Nutanix, which are some of the greatest and hardest ones there are. So, tell us about your interview process. Like, what were your experience during the interviews, and also the interview during the internship and all? Tell us about that.
So I'll start one by one. But in general, all these companies, the questions which they ask, they are not usually like outside. You don't find those questions on Geek for Geeks or some Lead Code or some other platform. If they are outside, then they will change the questions. So that is something I really liked about the interviews in these companies. And the interviewers they have knowledge about different approaches for the same problem. So they encourage you to come up with new approaches. So if there is an approach which is like different from one you are initially expecting, they will encourage you and they will ask you doubts, and they will try to give you cases where they think that your approach will fail. So then it's a really nice and interactive environment during these interviews. So I'll start with the first one which I gave, which was CodeNation. So in
Okay.
CodeNation, initially you have an online test, which is more of an online competition. So basically, you have it's a completely online. It's a completely like a Codeforces round. So you have
Okay.
some 4 questions, and you have 1.5 hour or 2 hours to solve those questions. And also in sometimes you have like they conduct multiple tests for competitions for this. So in some you have more questions, like you have 6 questions and you have 3 hours or 5 hours, so something like that. And there's a leaderboard which they make. Either that leaderboard is public, or sometimes they don't release the leaderboard, but they have a leaderboard. So even if you solve the questions, then you have like time is used for tie breaking. So after that, the top 200 people are called for interviews, and all the interviews are virtual. So
Oh,
after this, you have a round zero interview. Round zero is about your resume. So someone will ask you about your resume, what you have done, and they will be like they are usually curious that they'll ask you about some particular project. If you say this is one I did recently or something, they will ask you why did you make this choice in a project. Like if you have a machine learning project, then why did you use this algorithm, or did you try using something else for it? So they'll ask you some things which are like general things. If you have done the project properly, then you will have answers to them. So you should prepare for that. And then this is a short interview, usually half an hour. Then you have a round one interview. Round one was algorithms and data structures. So it is again, they will look at your profile, and then they will ask you a question which should be challenging for you. So if you say that you have done a lot of competitive programming, they will ask you a question which will be hard. So and then the scale is also judging scale is also what do you call it, adjusted accordingly. If you say that you have done a lot of development and all, the question will be hard for you, not in general thing terms, but for you it should be challenging when you see the question. and then you have to solve that question. And sometimes if the question is easier, they will ask you multiple questions, or they might ask you one question if it is a hard question which is expected to be hard for you. And it is, the questions are usually harder than the ones you find in most MNCs. It is like, it is kind of gearing towards competitive programming territory. So that was a really nice round, and I required hints from the interviewer to solve that question, so it was hard for me at that time. So and then after this, the next round is the system design round, that is R2, R012. So R2 in system design, it is basically you have to as an intern, as someone who's applying for internship, you would not know about how Uber is built or how some Zomato is built inside internally. What are the services? What are the databases they have? So it's kind of like theoretical for you. So you need to study. You can learn up about overview of multiple systems online, and then it's a pretty general thing. In system design, there is no perfect solution. There are always trade-offs. So you need to know about these trade-offs which you make, and when should you make a trade-off, and a high level overview, that like object oriented design. If you have to make something, and then what are the classes which you will have to design, like what are the classes, what will inherit from what, and a basic structure of the entire system you need to know. And the interviewer will not have a fixed problem in mind. He will basically try to see your resume and ask you, like, if you made a social networking site on your resume, like basic message sharing or video sharing, photo sharing site, then he will try to ask you questions which are related to that. So if you say that you like playing cricket or something, then he will try to ask you to build a system which keeps the score of a cricket match, or something like which streams the live score and commentary. And then you will go into that, what are the databases which you will need to have to, like, if you are building something which shows the real time score and which has a database for commentary and all. So what are the classes, what are the databases, what are the relationships among them? So these are the kind of questions which you will have in a system design round. So, and then after this, it's the last round, and usually after this they'll tell you the final result. And in the middle, if you're not qualifying the cutoff for a particular round, they will give you the result in the middle only, that you are not going forward. So you will not have all the rounds. It will depend on your performance in each round whether you go to the next round or not. So that was for CodeNation. For Nutanix, it was kind of similar, but one round was different. So initially, again, you had a coding test, and this was on campus. So the coding test was only for people in our college. So you give a coding test. They take the top few people, and the top few people are then called for the debugging round. So the debugging round is something which I have not seen in any other company.
Okay.
Basically, you are given codes related to semaphores and mutex. These are concepts in operating system. So for those who don't know, it is basically when you are having multiple processors, and they are running multiple processes, and they're trying to access the same information. So there can be problems when you are accessing, like someone writes that information and you have already read it. So it can be that you are reading old data. So because of this, there can be a lot of issues in synchronizing all these processes when they are working together. So you need to learn about this. Will be taught in your course in operating systems. And again, you will, when you give gate, if you are in integrated course, you will give gate, and then you will have to revise this again during gate also. So for this round, basically they have codes which are based on these operating system concepts. So that you can prepare for it, and for that you just look at all these there are a lot of normal problems which people have addressed using algorithms in operating systems. So what you do is you look at all these problems and look at the code for them, understand it in a very fundamental way, because during the debugging round, they will not ask you the direct exact same thing which you have read. So they might twist the problem a little bit, but you need to be able to identify what is going on in the code. So for this, I recommend that doing programming, any programming, whether it's competitive coding or development, you just need to look at code and identify what is wrong. So, and then you need to make as many corrections in the code as you can find. So, and they score you basically on how many actual faults were there, how many mistakes were there in that, and how many did you find out of them. So, and then there are some concepts in data structures, like they have linked lists also. In my round, the linked lists were also there. And in linked list, there were some edge conditions which you needed to take care of. Like sometimes you will try to access a pointer which is null. So those kind of questions are there, and you need to have experience while implementing and debugging things, so that you are able to spot those mistakes within the time. So that was the debugging round, and this was a really different thing. And the benefit of this is that you have experience in general programming, you'll be able to do good in this. So even if someone is preparing for 6 months, they will not have too many resources to prepare for this. So that is a good thing. If you are generally good in programming, it is good for you.
True.
So then the next round which we had was again algorithm data structures, but the way this was different was that you had one question and it had different levels in it. So it was at level 0 you have to do just the simple thing, whatever they ask you, just do that. In level 1, then you have, it's like a increased difficulty. Now they increase the number of like queries you have to do. If you have to do some operation, now you have to do it 1,000 times, or you have to do it a million times. So how you need to now optimize. Am I audible? Just to check.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Surely.
Okay, so you need to do this, and the constraints will increase. Then they'll add another constraint that you cannot do some particular operation. So you need to, without using a data structure, you need to do this now. And then they will add updates to it. Like there are 5 total things that now the thing on which you are doing the operations is changing. So how will you handle
Okay.
that? So it is basically first first few levels are normal interview question levels, and then the next ones they start entering into like competitive programming territory. So if
Okay.
you are good in competitive programming, then you will spot these kind of patterns, like they occur very frequently in competitive programming problems. So you will, if you know some data structure like segment tree, then it will be like a very direct implementation of that. So that will help you if you know it. Otherwise, these questions usually can be solved using normal HTL data structures also, which are there in any library of a Java or C++ library. But you will have to make more observation and use a little bit more of your logical abilities if you want to solve it using those data structures. So competitive programming knowledge helped me a lot in the data structure algorithm round. So then the next final round was again system design. System design was similar to what I described for CodeNation. So system design, again, the expectation from an intern is not that you will tell them the entire design of Zomato or Uber or some big system. Like how will you approach the question, and how are you responding to the feedback which the person is giving? So he will point out mistakes. He is an experienced person who's taking interview, so he will point out mistakes in your design, that you say that we should use some kind of database. So he will say that I think we should use this kind of database. So you have to then argue with him that who is better and what are the compromises you make in each case. So for that, it's like you need to know the theory and you can study for this round. It's not like something which you cannot prepare for and only experience will help, but you can prepare for this. So there are a lot
Mhm.
of resources for system design also interviews. You can prepare for that, and that will help you. They will not ask you very specific things, only high level designs of systems. So that was for Nutanix. So after these rounds, you will get the result. And even like CodeNation, they also eliminate people in the middle. So after one round, they will, if people don't meet cutoffs, they will eliminate them. So then coming to Google, again, Google interview format can be found online. So I'll not describe that too much. It is
Okay.
on the internet, you just search for Google interview, and then you will get lots of websites and lots of Geeks for Geeks articles and lead code articles describing the format for Google. So,
Okay. So, any particular experience you want to share with us regarding this?
regarding,
Regarding this
can you say
Google.
again? I think I lost your audio for a minute.
Okay, sir. I repeat that. Any particular work experience regarding the internship or the interview process? Particular experience, if there is any.
Um, yes, so internship is like I did my summer internship at CodeNation. So at CodeNation, because their interview process is so strict and like really difficult, so and they select very few people. So the people
Oh,
there were like really smart, and the pace of work was really fast. Like compared to any other company, I would say it's like they're doing 2 times faster work in CodeNation. So and all these companies, they don't tell you, like most good companies, they don't tell you to work for like 8 hours a day or something. They tell you that this is your target, and how much ever time you take, you do it, but this is your target. If you have to achieve that target. So in CodeNation, when I was doing an internship, I didn't have too much experience in development, so they won't ask you to do competitive programming in the internship.
okay.
So then I found it like it was really fast, and you had to learn things very very fast and continuously refer the documentation and do things. So it was a nice experience for me. I would say it was like a 2 month hackathon. So you are working continuously, continuously, continuously. So and that after that experience, like I did an right now in my internship at Nutanix. So I think I find I'm better able to adjust to things. And like initially, when you have every internship has a learning period, so they won't expect you to deliver something immediately as you join. So they will ask you to first learn about the system, system, learn about their the way they are doing work in their company, learn about the project which you are doing, and then you have to start working. So during the learning period, you have a lot of time. Like if you're not clear what you have to learn, then you will spend a lot of time like you don't know what to do. So you're not asking. Initially, you are hesitant to like trouble the mentor again and again. So that I learned in coordination that you have to trouble the mentor. So because they will not tell you exactly all the steps what you have to do. They won't tell you that learn A, B, C, D. They will say learn the system. You have to figure out what you have to learn. So for that, you need to keep troubling the mentor, ask your mentor for advice continuously, communicate with your mentor all the time. So that he knows what you are doing. So he cannot help you if he doesn't know what you are doing. So that way, like if you communicate enough with your team members and all, they will help you. Usually, people will help you in all the companies. They will guide you, and even they want you to be successful. So that is something I really learned from my first internship experience. That you need to know what to learn, and if you don't know something, definitely ask the mentor, and they will help you be good. They will help you learn that, and they will take calls for you, and they'll take the time to do it, but only if you ask. So you have to ask. In college we are very hesitant to ask. So if even during lectures, like faculty ask that anyone has any doubts, usually no one has doubts, and people who ask doubts, they already know the answer to the doubts. They just want to like sometimes tell the faculty that I've been studying this before the class or something. So in companies when you work, you have to ask doubts. You need to be able to ask doubts, otherwise you will be spending more time doing the same work. So that is something I really like. I really learned from my internship.
Great, sir. Moving on to our next question. So, what were the resources you followed to strengthen your coding concepts? Any book or e-resources you would like to recommend?
Yes, like there are a lot of resources. um, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Surely you are audible.
I think I'm having some network issues. Okay, so my video I think might be stuttering because I am seeing a notification, but as long as my audio is good, I think it should be good. So yes, so coming to the resources. So there are a lot of resources, good resources. I will name only a few, and you should always learn how to research. So because this skill in general will help you in anything that you do. Like internet is a really good resource, and just learn how to find things. I will name a few resources, and probably we'll put them in the video description also, so that people cannot remember all these resources as and when I speak. So first thing would be cpalgorithms.com. That is a really nice website. It contains all the theory with respect to competitive programming. So sometimes all the books where you read for your data structures course, they might not translate really well to programming contests, because the
Okay.
implementations in that are meant so that people can understand, not necessarily the fastest implementations. So cpalgorithms.com is a really good site for that. Then another good place for practicing I found was HackerEarth and HackerRank, mainly because they have a really good classification of problems. So every problem is classified into different sections, and you can attempt. You know when you're solving a question that this theory will be related to this particular concept. So in the beginning, that is really helpful, and both of these sites allow you to download the test cases. So a lot of times when you are initially starting out, you don't know what's wrong in your code, and you don't have a test case on which it will perform bad. So HackerRank and HackerEarth both allow you to download the test case on which your program is failing, and they show you how many test cases are failing. So you can have an idea that it is just like I'm missing one edge case, or my complete logic is totally wrong. So looking at the results. So that is something really helpful. In addition, HackerEarth has short tutorials along with each section. So that is really helpful when you don't need to go to another place to learn something. Usually those short tutorials are enough to solve the questions. So those I found those also pretty helpful. So HackerEarth and HackerRank, and then Codeforces is the best site. In my opinion, it is the best site for practicing competitive programming. It has really nice editorials, and it has a comment section below the editorial. So there people usually share a lot of different approaches for the problems which appeared in contests. So you should always read through those things, because sometimes the editorial solutions are very like mechanical. They will just give a proof, and they will not tell you why they went in that approach, or how do you flow from one step to the next. Like it will be correct, but you will not know the intuition behind it. So looking at the comment section, people usually explain all that. Then there are blogs on code forces. Those blogs are usually really nice. You can see the number of upvotes that they have. those blogs, a lot of good people also write blogs on Codeforces, so that's another good resource. In addition,
Sure.
one specific YouTube channel which I really like was Algorithms Live. It is Algorithms Live and then exclamation mark. So that is that person solves really hard problems after explaining the theory behind it. So he will explain the theory. He will then solve the question which is asked in some big competition like some informatics Olympiad of USA, or maybe it is asked in world finals of ICPC or some regionals, and you will be able to follow along. You will, like, if you're listening to him every word of that particular video, you will definitely be able to understand or get a gist of how the solution is working, and you will get a feeling that I have solved a really hard problem. Even though he has explained everything really nicely, then you should go and try to code that solution. So these problems are really hard, and I don't think I will be able to solve such a question during a contest also. But once you have the confidence that I'm able to understand difficult questions, then you will feel more confident. It will build your confidence, and it will give you many tricks which you can apply to your problem when you're getting stuck in particular cases. That person codes it live, so you can see him getting stuck in that problem, and then he will show you how to get unstuck, like what is the fix for that problem. And then that also shows you debugging skills, like because he codes live, you can see like he's stuck, how did he find the mistake in his code. So that is also really good
Oh,
learning I got from Algorithms Live. And he gets guests, and the guests are like some of the best coders in the world. So those people, they discuss like, usually like people who are really good in some particular field like geometry, someone might be good in geometry, someone is good in number theory and all. So those people have some kind of an intuition about the subject, which normal other people usually don't have, so they find it more difficult than them. So when these guests come on this show, they usually explain how they thought about creating such a problem and how they think about these problems. So that is also a really good experience. So it's like you can binge watch kind of those episodes on Algorithms Live. So
okay.
those are a few resources which I found really helpful. In addition, there are some resources that I haven't personally followed, but I have heard that they are really good, because after learning something, you will not go to relearn that again and again and again. So I did not refer them, but I've heard that CSES.fi. This is a website which has a book named Competitive Programming Handbook. So the problem set and the book are really nice, and people say that it is really helpful. Like if you want to solve problems in a particular, sorted by some particular topics and all, so you can follow these problems and they will go from easy to hard, and it's a really good book to follow. That's what I've heard. For a book, I personally read this book called Algorithm Design Manual. So it is by an author called Steven Skinner, and this book is like the actual way someone should learn algorithms according to me, if they want to self learn them. If Because Introduction to Algorithms is the best book. If you know algorithms or something, you are taking a course, that is the best. But Algorithm Design Manual is made for someone who does not know anything from the beginning. So you can read this book. It is a very nice book. The humor is also there. The author gives nice humor. He gives nice jokes, and the proofs are not that rigorous. So you do not need to be like a math genius to follow along in that book. So that book is really nice. Algorithm Design Manual.
Okay, that's great, sir. Sir, next question. After achieving almost every feather on your cap, what do you aim for next? I mean, will you still be the part of the coding family and give contests?
Yes, yes. Coding excites me a lot. So I started it because I didn't want to get a job. I didn't start because I was thinking that at the end of fifth year I will go to Google or something like that. So
Okay.
I really like problem solving. I like participating in contests. So that is why I started. So it is a really nice stress buster and thing to do in my free time.
We
So
got
I'm
it.
not, even though I'm not able to like give as much time to competitive programming. Even I'm an intern right now, still I'm not able to give. So but at weekends I try that. At weekends, at whatever contests are going on, I try to take part in them. I try to like keep in touch with my programming skills. So if you don't practice something, you will start forgetting it, and then so
Yes, sir.
and plus I like the community also, because if you go on sites like Codeforces and Codechef, you will see people who are from, like, some are scientists in some space agency, and then some are engineers in Google or something. Then some are doing something completely different. Someone are in finance, but they like competitive programming. So you see a lot of different people out there, and everyone is like having competition, having discussions about problems. So that is a really good thing that you should, like, it's a really nice hobby to have even when you are start working. So my next aim is to become a grandmaster on Codeforces. So that might take some more time, as I'm not able to practice as much right now. So but I'll keep on doing competitive programming, usually at least for next 2 or 3 years. I have a plan that I will at least on weekends I will do competitive programming.
ग्रेट सर, ग्रेट सर। ये कोडिंग और कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोग्रामिंग तो बहुत हो गया। इसको आप थोड़ा साइड करके अगर मैं पूछूं कि व्हाट आर द अदर थिंग्स दैट यू लाइक, we know that you play badminton very very well, so what's in your opinion like role of the extracurricular activities? And there are some who tells that participating in clubs is just hectic task and waste of time. So what is your opinion in all this?
Yes. So, like, if you should know, you should have an idea of what you want to do in the future. So, and the earlier you have an idea, the more you can make decisions based on that. So, in ninth or tenth, I didn't know programming, but I knew that I found it very fascinating that computer engineers are typing code and they are able to do a lot of things using that. So, I knew that I wanted to become a computer engineer, software engineer specifically. So, I started taking my decisions towards that. So, and I really enjoyed sports. Like, I played a lot of different sports during childhood. Then I stuck to badminton because it's like I was living in southern India, so the monsoons are really bad there. So, and during monsoons you can't play most of the sports. Like if you play cricket, football, all the sports you cannot
Yes,
play
sir.
during monsoon. So I played badminton, and then it was like weatherproof, and my friends were also playing badminton. So I played badminton because of that. So when I came to college, I saw like the all these clubs. I had an aim that one thing I recommend everyone that one thing should be like focus on curriculars and whatever professional things you need to learn so that you get a good job, and at least one other hobby or something else you should be involved in, which is not directly related to all your academics and everything. So the reason is that it will provide as a stress buster that you even if you face setbacks in some like if your exam went bad or something, then I go to the badminton court, everyone plays in the evening and we have a good time, and then you forget about it, and then you just see that next time if it's in your control you try to improve the situation, otherwise you can't do anything, then just forget it. So and you that is one thing, and you meet a lot of people doing these activities.
Yes, sir.
So a lot of people who guided me have been people who I've met in the badminton court. So I've
Yes,
met
sir.
people from different courses. I met PhD people who are doing PhD, people who are doing MBA, then seniors from our IPG course. So and those people, they are always there. Like you meet them every day, they know you personally. So and any doubts you have, like what should I do right now? Who should I do a BTP under? And like someone is given an assignment, is it actually that important? And should I spend time on this? And all these seniors and all, they help you, they guide you in all this. And even after college, they still reach out like if they need help from me or if I need some advice from them. You still reach out, and that is actual networking. Like on LinkedIn, you send a connection request, they accept it. That is not like you don't actually know those people, so it's not actual networking unless you talk to those people. So this is like real life networking. And another thing is that in college you can try a lot of things and there are no consequences if you decide not to do that later. So like if you're interested in photography, so you can take part in Uthaan and you can take part in the photography contest and photography competitions. You can learn from other people who are doing photography. So and if you decide that no, I don't like it right now, so it's not what I thought it was, and you quit. So no one is there to like you don't have a salary or anything that you won't get the salary from next month, or that you have to stick to this club for 5 years now. So the consequences are really not there while you're in college. So you should try as many things as you like until you find out what you actually want to do. So that is really nice. And then again, I would suggest that if you are doing like competitive programming or development or something, then you should also go outside our college and participate in competitions. So that is because you meet people out there who are in the same field, and those people like usually they are around your batch, so you will be graduating along with them or they'll be graduating before you and all. And if you need help, like if you need referrals or something, those people, they can personally vouch for you because they've seen you perform in competitions or at events, at conferences. They've seen you there, so those people can actually give you a good referral. So and even if they're not from your college, like I've asked a few people who I've seen on leaderboards that I have not talked to them before, they're just my friends on Facebook. But when I wanted some opinion about some job opening in a company and all, I asked them and they knew who I was, because we were competing together. We used to see each other that we are on the leaderboard, this person overtook me today, and then I overtook them again. So there was this kind of competition, healthy competition between us. So we haven't talked. So that guy was able to tell me that this is not the opening you should apply for. Wait for this opening, and that opening I will refer you and all that. So so these are, you make connections doing all this. So if you are applying for technical jobs, like in engineering or UX design or something like that, these participating in clubs will not actually directly help you in that. But all these benefits I mentioned are indirect benefits, and sometimes they are very significant. So I recommend that everyone, along with curriculars and all, they should do at least one more activity which involves socializing with people and meeting people who have similar interests, because that helps you even after college. So that is what I think about clubs and extracurriculars.
Okay, sir. Sir, now tell us about what are the best memories of you in college, what you will miss about the IIIT Gwalior.
Um, like there are a lot of memories about college which I will miss, and especially because we missed 1 year, 2 years, 2 years, almost 2 years of college, last years of college because of lockdown. So like especially the sports fest, I used to play a lot of badminton. So I organized events in the sports fest, Urja and Twaran, and I've also taken part in those events. So I really liked all the energy and enthusiasm. Like everyone during those fests used to be out of the room, and they used to be there like cricket matches going on. Everyone is there. Then someone is commentating, someone is sledging, someone is cheering for their team, and like so
Yes,
like
sir.
all the enthusiasm around all the sports fest and even the tech fest. So tech fest also, like especially in first year, you cannot sleep, and if you are sleeping or you are free, and someone will find you and he will put you in some
Yes,
event that
sir.
you have to do this, you have to go for calling. So all these things, like all the fests and all, I will definitely miss, because these won't happen after college. Usually you don't have, like, even if you have fest, but like it's a more professional. So it's not like you cannot just tell someone that come help me in this fest and then stay there for the night. People will be coming and then attend people from railway station. So we people have to do that also for fest, like if someone is coming from outside. So and then another part I will miss is definitely the hostel life. So like especially like after exams, we used to sit down in some person's room, then play PUBG the entire day, or play uh, Call of Duty, and then wasting time and then talking about like anything, just any irrelevant stuff, and then for the whole day. And sometimes like used to bunk classes also. Like that was something you can't attend every class. Not every class is
Yes, sir.
like that interesting also. So that was also really nice. And then celebrating birthdays. So, so like there are two parties, one during night, one during the midnight, and then another when you have to like go to a restaurant and give a party and all. So like there were two cakes, and only one cake was meant to be eaten. So and then
Exactly,
there
sir.
were then there were fireworks, and then there were sometimes eggs and buckets of water also somewhere. Sometimes to celebrate the birthday at night. So and there was like a lot of chaos and everything going on during celebrating people's birthdays during night. So that was something that I definitely miss. And even the birthday parties and parties from all the seniors that we used to get. So we used to go out and then we used to do a debate first, that what is the menu and venue. So first, where are we going to go? So we saw all the restaurants in Gwalior, which were like on Zomato and Swiggy and all. We should do all the research. And then one thing was like the food should be good, and second thing was the other person should have to spend maximum possible. So and then
Yes,
we tried
sir.
every restaurant, and then always used to go there and over order. And then everyone then while coming back, we used to stop at some places, have ice cream, have faluda, and then like walk down from different places in Gwalior to college. So all those memories, like they're really special. And after college, I don't think we'll have same kind of experiences, because everyone will be working and you won't get to, the schedules will be different. You won't get to interact with all everyone like this again. So that is something I will really miss from college.
Okay, sir. Sir, Uthaan is organizing that interview में Q&A session. Like the audience in viewing us live can ask their questions to us. So I request all the viewers to put down their questions in the question panel. We will be addressing them. So the first question for you is, so is it a bad approach to do development and CP simultaneously?
Definitely not. Like there is no one way to get good at, like to get a good job or anything. So I know like there are friends, like there's especially one friend called Matthew Sachin. He's in our batch. So that person has done like he started competitive programming. Then he found out like he was really good in development. He had been doing it since school. So he found that competitive programming was not interesting to him. So he did development and he did it really well. So he could do competitive programming if he wanted to, but that was just not what he was interested in. uh, so yes, so and even he was able to. He's in Amazon, and I believe that he didn't try for any other companies, but he would have tried. He would have gotten into any other company. So the thing is that whatever you like, just be good at it. It should be like it should be a useful skill, and you should be good at it. And any skill you start, like I've seen a lot of people, they quit competitive programming because they find that it's very difficult. So I'll tell you that personally from my experience, I was not able to, like, I when I started competitive programming, I went to Codechef. I opened the easy section and I submitted one code. I wasn't able to get it accepted. Then I thought I'll go to the beginner section. I went to the beginner section. I wasn't able to get that code also accepted. Any, not a single problem beginner section. So it's like everyone starts and it is difficult initially, and later it is easier to learn the harder topics because you have accumulated a lot of knowledge previously. So you can build context around it. So the hardest part in competitive programming is just starting it. So, and once you start it, like if you are playing chess, you cannot enjoy chess until you know the rules of chess. So similarly, with competitive programming, you cannot enjoy competitive programming until you know the algorithms and the fundamental things about any programming language and the fundamental algorithms. So once you know that, you will definitely like it, but you need to stick to it for some time. So I would suggest that, like, seriously work hard and stick to it for at least 1 year. And after 1 year, you can decide whether you want to do something else or not. And there is no harm in not doing competitive programming. Just keep in mind that if you are not doing competitive programming, then the interviews you are giving, see the format of the interviews, and at least prepare for the interviews. If you are interested in joining some company, whatever the company is asking, at least prepare that much. Sometimes people say that competitive programming and algorithm questions, they are not the best judge of someone's capabilities. Even I agree with that, that not all role requires you to do solve competitive programming problems, and most people will not be solving competitive programming problems in their job. So, but still, since that system is there and till it does not change, you need to prepare for that. So if you do it properly, then it is, I find that most people should find these problems interesting. So even if you're not doing competitive programming, you can do development, do it well, take part in hackathons, and know where you stand in the world. So if you're applying for off campus, you will be competing with people from all over India, so, or sometimes all over the world. So you should know that how, where you stand. So if you are taking part in hackathons, then you will come to know that I lost in this hackathon. What did the winner do, which was better than me? And then you can learn those tricks from that winner, and then you can improve yourself and become better in that field. So that is one advice which I would give.
I
Hello,
guess there is an internet connection issue.
hello,
Yes, sir. Now your voice is coming. Even the
hello. Am I audible?
yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So I was saying that always take part in competitions so that you know what people are doing outside your college also. So because with people inside the college, you are regularly interacting with them, but people outside your college, what they are doing, you should always know so that you know where you stand.
Okay, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
that is one advice which I would give.
Okay. Sir, though this is the most repeated question ever, but still, Sarah Chandra wants to know that which one is the most efficient language for competitive programming.
Okay, so I would say that C++ and Java are very safe choices. So if you know any one of them, so you stick to that. You don't need to learn another language for competitive programming. Python is not the best choice, and like you can do Python, but it is like you will face a lot of difficulties in some particular platforms. So there are platforms which correctly set the time limits for Python, and there are some platforms which just apply some kind of a multiplier. So if C++ should get 1 second, Python should get 2 seconds or something like that. So, and those approximations might not always work. So you might have a case where you are not able to get it accepted because of Python. So C++ and Java are very safe options. And if you don't know any of them, then you should learn C++, because C++ is like there are platforms like Codeforces on which there is one time limit for all the languages. So, and they make sure that the solution which is expected passes in all these languages, but there might be cases in which you have an extra, like when you learn about complexity analysis, there might be solutions that are just slower than the optimal solution. So if you are using C++, you can get those solutions to pass also. So those won't be the best solution, but you can get it to pass. And in the end, what matters is like the accepted or not accepted result. So C++ will give you a slight advantage over Java sometimes, but Java and C++, any of them should be good enough.
Yeah, okay. Sir, Ananya Achna wants to know coding is my first love, but I hate time pressure. Any tips for me?
Yes. So first thing would be that if you want to do competitive programming seriously, then start in your first year or second year. Like don't wait for third year and fourth year, or don't wait for the algorithms course to be taught in your college, in our college. So that is because you have a lot of time, and there is no pressure. So once you start thinking that I have to prepare for interviews, and I'm like, you start setting those deadlines, then you start feeling like an urgency, and then you try to take shortcuts. You will try to like skip over the entire detail, and you just see that what is useful for my question, and you will just learn that much. So I would say start early, and don't think about placements and internships in your first year, and maybe even second year. So just think about, like, you like solving problems, so just think about solving problems and learn one concept at a time. Don't try to map out your entire journey in your first year itself. So just enjoy that particular problem, enjoy the particular concept that you're learning, and take part in contests, take one contest at a time. So that way, don't think too much about the future. So like too far into the future. Think, just have a broad target, which direction I want to go in. Like my target was I want to qualify for World Finals, ICPC World Finals. So I knew that target, and I just did one step at a time. So I wasn't thinking about like I'll become a master in third year or something. I'll become this particular 5-star in these many years. So that way you just put unnecessary pressure on yourself. Just enjoy the process and just strive to keep getting better than yourself when you were like 1 month ago. So if I right, every month I used to think that last month, was I at the same level, or have I improved a little after learning all the things I learned in the last month? So if that answer is yes, then I don't care like if someone else is like above me. I know that if I keep progressing, then I will soon catch up to that guy and overtake him. So, and then don't put like too much emphasis on, like, don't idolize too many people. So if you like say that this person is really good in programming, I want to like, I will never like you too much. You give him too much significance or something, then you think that you will never be able to reach that goal. So I say that, like, think, like, consider yourself as your hero, and you like the version of you after 2 years. That should be your hero. And you should think that I want to like that after 2 years I should know these things, and then should strive to achieve that. So because I have seen a lot of times, like when I consider that this person is a really good coder, I set my target that I will beat him. So I will never be able to reach that goal. So don't think too much about like am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Is the okay? So when you I was saying that if you set a target like a human being,
Yes,
that
sir.
this person, like I said that there's some senior and that person is doing really good, so I want to be at that person's level. So I get really close to his level, and then I start going up down, but I don't consistently beat him. That is because I've set a target, and when I'm achieving it, I start slowing down.
Yes, sir.
So don't set like targets, because you might, because usually your targets for long term are really like they are very low. You don't know that you will be able to achieve way more than that person in some years. So just focus on your own development. Just keep seeing that you are improving, and don't think too much about internships and placements in your first second year.
Yeah, that's pretty much of it. So next question from the audience is, what is the CGPA criteria for the Google?
Okay, so I don't know, man, because it is really confusing topic, because it's very good to have 8.5 plus. I can tell you, it's really good to have 8.5 plus, and if you have 8 plus, that is also good enough. My personal CGPA was none of these, so it was lower than that. So they say, the like Google people say that they don't check your CGPA at all. So I'm not really sure about how much of it is true, and in like if it's only
Yeah.
in the USA, or if it's there followed in India also. But I have a feeling, I don't quote me on this. I have a feeling that they check the CGPA, and it is one of the things they take into consideration. They don't have a cutoff. Like Microsoft has a cutoff, I guess, of 8 or 8.5, but Google does not have a cutoff. So, but having a good CGPA is good if you like. It will balance things out. So there are points. They must be giving points to every achievement. So if you are really good at development, or you have some GitHub repository which is like very has a lot of stars or something, they will give it some good score. And then if you have a CGPA which is less, they'll give it a lesser score than someone who would have gotten 9 CGPA. So in the end, when you join all the criteria together, whatever finally they have a decision, that is what uh, on that is on which they put the cutoff. So individually your CGPA doesn't matter, but after all the achievements and everything which is there on your resume, after and the interview performance, after everything they take one decision, and that decision should be good. So
Okay.
I would say that if your CGPA is not good, you should have a very good reason why it is not good. So you should say
Yeah.
that I was in some, like, if you are in a branch which is not related to your is not related to the position you're applying to. So then you can say that I wasn't interested in that. So I was focusing all my time on this particular thing. I was focusing on coding, or I was focusing on development, or something like that. So you should have a good. It's best if you have a good CGPA. If you don't, then you should have a good reason for why your CGPA is not good, a justifiable reason. It's not like I feel something. It should be like there should be evidence that you have actually spent time on that. That could be either like you have published some research paper, or you have good coding profiles, or your interview performance should always be good. Interview performance must be good, otherwise you will get rejected even before like the hiring committee is the one who sees everything combined. So you will get rejected before that. So, and for passing the basic cutoff, I think recruiters just look at, a lot of companies, they have these systems in which your resume goes, and the algorithm tries to read your resume. So luckily for Google, that is not the case. A human being will take a look at your resume if you have a referral, and you have, like, if recruiters reached out
Yes,
to
sir.
you, they will at least look at your resume. So a human being should be able to justify to themselves that why is this person good. So otherwise you won't get an interview. So that is the case.
So here we have a fun question for you. Which junior has annoyed you the most for CC?
I won't name. Like, I actually, no one has annoyed me as such. Uh, but I think the person asking the question must be the one because I was not asking the question. So, like, no one has annoyed me. I like answering questions because I myself felt that if I would have asked questions to someone who knew it, I would have saved a lot of time. So it is actually good if you ask questions. But then again, if you're asking questions, you should also, like, put effort into that. If I tell you that learn from this place or do this and all, it should not be that you see too many things and then you quit and then you say I'm doing development now. So you should actually put effort into whatever advice someone gives you. And yes, so, and another thing is that when you're taking advice from people, always, like, it's not that if that it works for that person, it will work for you. So you should always be able to judge yourself what advice is good and what is not good. So keep an open
Yes.
mind, ask for advice, and then judge, like, is this logically, does it sound like it's a correct advice, and then do it. And I would encourage more people to ask questions. So even if I don't have time to answer, if you ask me personally and I don't have time to answer, I will take some time. I will take maybe 2 days, 1 week or something, but I will make a point that I will give you an answer. And especially if people are from my college, then they are on high priority. Like, I will answer to them first, and then I will see someone on LinkedIn who is, I don't know that person, and he's still asking me. I'll give priority to our college people. So you should ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
This, yeah, this is definitely a perk of being at Triple ITN. Okay, sir. Our audience wants to know when are you starting your YouTube channel?
Uh, I don't know, man. If I get sponsors, I will start it right now. I will tell the sponsorship fee. If I get that much, I will start a YouTube channel right now. So just kidding. So serious, on a serious note, I don't know. I don't know actually, because it takes time and effort, and like anything you start, you won't initially. No one will know about it. You'll have some 20 views, 50 views initially. So you need to, like, think that I will stick to it for at least 6 months. Otherwise, in 1 or 2 days, nothing is going to happen. So right now, I haven't been able to force myself to get into it and start. So maybe in the future I'll start. And there's another thing, that a lot of advice is already there. So if you have anything, any question and all, you can ask me personally.
Yes,
Otherwise,
sir.
I'm not really sure. I can't give you a answer that when I start a YouTube channel.
Yeah, okay, sir. So, uh, with this, we come to an end of our session. And the last question for you is: there any special advice you would like to give all the budding competitive coders?
Yes, definitely. Like, I would recommend that. I would say that I would be really happy if some team from our college qualifies for ICPC World Finals. So that is like, I give a challenge to everyone in this college that you qualify for ICC World Finals, and then, like, I will give you 100 parties if you want. So, and another
Oh,
thing,
cool.
and and other thing is that I hope, like, we are able to build a culture in our college of competitive programming, because I've gone to other colleges for competitions and ICPC and all. You talk to them, you tell them you're from triple IT Gwalior. What they think is that triple IT Gwalior, that means सब लोग coding करते होंगे. तो बट लाइक ऐसा मैंने देखा है कि बाहर वालों को ही ऐसा लगता है, अंदर जो है, वी नो दैट हर बैच में देयर माइट बी सम 20 people at max who are actually doing competitive programming. And I'm not saying
Yes,
that it's like only one thing you should do in college is competitive programming and then don't do anything else. But give it a try and try to build a culture around competitive programming. And if you have a culture, then it becomes really easy for new people to get good at it. Like, the first person who's doing it alone, he will have to do it on his own. He's seeing everyone doing everything else, and that person has to get motivation from somewhere to do it, to follow competitive programming. But if there's a culture around it, then everyone, the motivation is around you. Everyone is doing something or the other, and you are motivated that like there'll be healthy competition among people, and there'll be like people to solve your doubts and all that. So I would say that just build a culture around it and it will be really nice. And if anyone needs any help, always reach out to me. I will be happy to answer all your questions, and take one step at a time. So don't try to look at a really big picture or something. Just take one step at a time, and you'll do good, regardless of whatever you're doing, competitive programming or anything.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. That was very nice of you. Okay, sir. With this, we come to an end of our session. And sir, वो वाली line कर दीजिए एक बार. Please like, comment, subscribe to our channel.
Please like, comment, subscribe, smash the like button, or kuch. And
Okay,
I would
that's
also like
it.
to thank Shashwat and everyone in Uthaan who made this possible. And you're doing a great work. Keep going. And I'm sure that more people, like you, will get views and more people will start watching videos and following Uthaan.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, the audience, for being with us. That's all. Tata. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye. अभी लाइव है क्या?